Hello, I started a little project a few days ago. I wanted to make a dragon bas relief. I thought I'd study Chinese and Japanese dragons, and I came across an image. This image was on Wikimedia Commons. It's not got any restrictions, so I decided to use this as a reference and a way to study the forms of the Japanese dragon. The Japanese dragon's very similar to the Chinese dragon, except it has 3 claws instead of 4 or 5. This design is a relief of a dragon that's on samurai armour from the Edo period, which was the 18th century. Armour in the Japanese period was practical, but also a personal statement showing the wearer's identity and status. I wanted to familiarise myself with my iPad as well, so I did the line drawing on my tablet using Procreate. I also wanted to try out Clip Studio Paint a bit more because I've had this program for years and I've always been a bit scared to use it. I want to compare whether making a bas relief from an image that's been shaded will be as good as a bas relief that's been sculpted in 3D. In this video I'm going to make a 3D blockout in Blender that I want to use as a reference to help me shade this image. It's also part of a larger experiment I'm doing. I will also be showing my process in Blender, and I've narrated a few of my thoughts while I did it. It was a good way to get back into sculpting with Blender because I've only used it once or twice to do that. I usually use a program called ZBrush. As a 2D artist learning 3D, some of my process is probably not the orthodox way to do things. I've learned a few things here and there from YouTube and other tutorials. Thanks for watching. I've added a camera to my scene and I have set a background image for the dragon reference. What I'm trying to do here is create a 3D version of the dragon which will help inform my lighting decisions. So I'm going to just use primitive shapes in Blender and just do a very basic blockout. If I set the opacity to a lower value for the background image on the camera and set it to front, I can see my objects through the image easier. Shift D to duplicate, R to rotate, G to move, S to scale. I will be moving the shapes in depth so that they make more sense as well after I've blocked them out initially. Shift A to add an object. The image only shows up in the camera view. Numpad 0 to get to the camera view again. A better way of doing the neck would probably be to use a curve shape. If I move the cursor, I can set where an object's going to appear. In the geometry tab for the data object properties for the curve, I can set the depth. I can also edit nodes individually. To scale the node of a curve, you press Alt S and then you move the mouse to slide how big you want it. Press Shift while you're doing it, you can make it a bit more gradual. Now this curve isn't the right mess, so what I'm going to do is convert that to mesh. Then I'm going to use my instant clean. It looks fine. I can do remesh here, so that's nice now. Make sure you set the scale as well before you do anything in the sculpt room. I'm going to set the rotation and scale for that, and I'm going to duplicate it, Shift D, scale that down. I want to form the bottom of the cheek. I think it would be easier to do this in sculpt mode. Grab tool in this, just drag it out, and there's not enough vertices to actually stretch this out, so I need to remesh it. just by pressing R and then remeshing it. Now I know that in the 3D world the jaw of this dragon would probably be going out there, so he could actually fit his teeth and tongue in there, but this is only from a 2D view really, so I don't really need to do that. I'm just going to remesh that again. That's what the mesh looks like in edit view now. Then I'm going to get out of sculpt mode and duplicate this again and scale that down. Now what I could do actually is duplicate that and add another one and then scale that down a bit. Now I want to join these blobs together, so I need to press Ctrl J and then set the scale, and then go into sculpt mode and press R and set a grid size that looks about right, and then remesh it. So now I can use the move tool and put that where I want it. So it looks a bit crazy, but I think it's going well at the moment. So we go to object mode and we need to add a nose. So the nose is the most important part of the dragon. He can't smell things, he can't breathe without his nose. Rotate it so it's slightly towards the viewer. And now we need to add the eyebrows. For that I'm going to duplicate the head, or the icosphere that is representing the head, and I'm going to squash it down. I need to rotate it in the right angle, and then I can rotate it how I want it and move it according to where it's going to be. This skull here, we need some room for the eyes, so I'm going to go to sculpt room, mesh that so I have enough topology to actually push and pull about. If I grab here and press the control button, I can go in or out there. I think it would be a good time to start naming the objects, because otherwise everything is going to be icosphere and I won't know what anything is. I think I will move it so that it is a bit more aligned with the drawing. It's easier to do with the grab tool when it's an object than using the curve tool. Right, I need to push that in a bit at the bottom. Going to sculpt mode and I want to remesh that. I think we need to smooth it, so shift. I just want it to be the basic shape of the whiskers there. It's not at the right angle yet. Use the grab tool and just squash it down so it's away from the nose, and shape it and just pull out these whiskers. Might be a good time to remesh it. It's a little bit like the Dynatopper in ZBrush, so you can remesh it if you pull something out and then you'll get more topology to work with. Alt and Q, select object sculpt. Nice, easy to remember. So that will select the objects whilst you're in. A bit like Alt in the brush, but it's got Alt and Q. And I've set it to a thing on my toolbox so it's easier to click. I like the way in ZBrush better, where you can just use the slider on a menu and it's easier to know what you're doing. He needs eyes. Side view is actually quite useful because I know I'm in front of you here. To move things forward and back, I can just use the side view. Scale it on the X or the Y or the Z If I go S and then press the key for each axis, it looks fine, but if I see in 3D depth, and actually, since I'm looking through the camera there, it might be better if I was just in front view, but unfortunately, if I do that, my image disappears. So what I could do is set it to orthographic, so I can scale the orthographic scale until it lines up again. Now I can judge things a bit more accurately. The perspective was altering the angle I want it. I just want to extrude this edge of this mouth so that I have more space to put a tongue and teeth later. Mask. Here we go. Another thing that's quite useful is remember to save your work, and mesh filter, you can smooth things in one go. I want to remesh that, and that should be nicer now. In this video I blocked out the head and the neck. In the next video I will continue with the process of the blockout in Blender. If you could give this video a like, and if you're interested in more videos like this, please subscribe. It would really help this channel out. I would love to make more videos that are a bit more informative. I hope they're helpful, and thank you for watching.